So I've been sitting on this fragrance for quite some time. I've been trying to really understand it and spend some time with it because I have to be honest, it's one of the most challenging and different smelling leather fragrances that I've ever experienced. And I have to say, it's one of the bests. Anyway, from the house of Argos Bravido Della Caccia. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joshua, and this is our channel, Scentsense. All the loyal subscribers who continue to stick with me as long as I've been doing this, to you fine folks, I thank you so much. And to all you new people who may be checking out the channel for the very first time, and you're trying to decide what you want to do about it, no, I'm not the other guy that kind of looks a lot like me. I'm the original. Just saying. Been here, done that. Today's video, we'll be talking about a newer release from the house of Argos. Argos is the house that released such fragrances as Argos Pour Homme, Argos Pour Femme, BACCIO IMMORTALE, one that I've already talked about. And this one is part of the same line that BACCIO IMMORTALE comes from. This is a leather-centric fragrance with a fresh touch, which is not usually the case with leather fragrances. From the house of Argos, Bravido Della Caccia. Before I crack this bad boy open, let's go ahead and look at the box. You've got the really cool, awesome artwork that surrounds the entirety of the box. On the back, it's got the name of the fragrance. It's got some information about the concentration, all that other stuff that they put on every box or bottle ever. It's got the name of the fragrance on the front. It's got the concentration, the size of the fragrance bottle. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up, and inside that box is another box. It's a box party. See ya. Let's go ahead and look at this box. As you can see, it's a really nice looking box. It's green. It's got the cool, niche vibe of the little flap where you open it up like every other box that's niche or the good ones. It's got the description of the fragrance with the fragrance notes. The bottle rests in a little coffin, so let's go ahead and pull this bad boy out, and we're done with this too. Later. So let's go ahead and look at the bottle here. As you can see, you've got the sunken in plate on the front with the design of the goddess Artemis. It's got the word Argos on the bottom. It looks like a old school pillar. You've got the cap on the top with the all-seeing eye. You can hold it by the cap. It says Argos right here on the bottom of the cap. Cap comes off. Really nice sprayer. It works. Let's just go over a little bit of the backstory. The name Bravido Della Caccia translates to the thrill of the chase. And I think that's duly meant. I think it's meant to go with the story, but also I feel like this fragrance is meant to be worn by somebody who's out there, trying to seek out somebody who's smelling like he's ready to get him a lady, a guy's guy, a guy who wants to smell different, unique, but masculine all at the same time. So the fragrance is represented by the goddess Artemis, who's supposed to be the goddess of the wilderness, the goddess of the hunt, the goddess of chastity, keeping your stuff for just that special someone until you get married, the goddess of childbirth. So apparently there was this guy who was, checking her out, trying to check her out while she was bathing. He was like, ooh, yeah, ooh, yes. Dang, girl, dang. Look at that. And apparently she was pissed off. She was just like, my goodies, I'm the goddess of chastity, boy. What are you doing? This dude was just out hunting, and he had him and his little animals with him hunting. And so what did she do? She punished him. She turned him into a stag. And basically, all the little doggies, the little hounds he had with him that were hunting with him was like, this is what we've been looking for all day. I'm starving. And they just ripped him to shreds. So with that being said, that's kind of rough. Maybe you shouldn't be such a perv creep, staring at people while they're bathing. Doesn't work out for people. Ask the old boy in the Bible. Kind of wrecked his whole life for a while. Let's go ahead and discuss the description of the fragrance by the brand. I'll go ahead and read that straight from the box here. It says, mildly romantic, yet strikingly refined and elegant. Argos' Bravido Della Caccia unfolds with an enigmatic composition of juniper berries, mate absolute, oriental tonka bean absolute, and rich amber. An animalistic fragrance with accents of supple leather and birchwood that is an equally bold and romantic fragrance. So before we jump into me describing the fragrance, let's just go ahead and discuss the notes. In the top notes, you're gonna get pink pepper, clary sage, juniper, and green mate absolute. In the mid, you're gonna get oil of flauve, iris concrete, and tonka bean absolute. And in the base, you're gonna get supple leather, oil of birch, and amber accord. So what do I get from this fragrance? Right out of the gates, you're gonna get some earthiness from the clary sage, and of course that astringent nature that you get from juniper. Green mate is also an herbal earthy note, so you're gonna get a lot of this earthiness, but literally almost seconds later, you get this blast of freshness that comes in straight away. This fragrance lends credence, in my opinion, to the original Argos Pour Homme. It has some of the vibe of that. It feels like you took that and some sweetness and leather and kind of smashed it together. So this will give you something that's not normally, present in a leather fragrance. A sweet, yet super fresh, yet herbal leather fragrance. It's like this mishmash of a bunch of stuff going on that just really works together to create something I haven't really smelled before. As this fragrance starts to dry down, you really get that leather and the birch and the tonka bean. It really starts to come to the forefront. I find that the iris mixed with the earthy notes and mixed with the juniper berry kind of gives it that fresh nature we're talking about. So you get this like battle that's going on where your nose is really trying to figure out what it is you're smelling. And the reason why I find it to be really cool is it's not confusing, it's alluring. You want to know more about it. You want to chase this fragrance, if you will, throughout its life of the fragrance. It's a lot like a lot of fragrances that comes to that. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you want a fragrance that really pulls you in and isn't that most basic, boring fragrance that you could buy from Calvin Klein, Mont Blanc, Versace, all the other cheaper brand fragrances. This one is supposed to be worth what you pay for it. As far as performance on this fragrance, it's a lot like all of the other fragrances for Argos. The performance is super, super good. This you're gonna get 6 to 8 hours on skin, lightly applied. If you heavily apply or apply on clothes, you're gonna get 10 to 12 hours, sometimes even longer than that. It can be headache inducing if you spray too much. This is a super leather centric fragrance, and leather fragrances can be a little cloying if over applied. This is one of those fragrances that I would suggest be a touch-up fragrance, not something that you heavily apply and then go somewhere and let it last. It's something you apply lightly, enjoy it while it lasts, and reapply when need be. This is without a doubt one of the most unique, fresh, enticing, different leather fragrances that I've ever smelled. As far as projection and sillage, this one really pushes out, man. This is something that will let people know you're there, and it will definitely cause people to talk. People will want to know, what is it that I'm smelling? That is not something normal. That is not something I'm used to smelling. It's not sea salty, it's not fresh, it's not aquatic, and it's not overly sweet. It's something different. Without a question, this is one that I think everyone should at least sample. You should at least get your nose on this. This is something I would call a fragrance lover's wet dream, because we're so starving for something different, because we've owned and smelled so many fragrances. And for people who are not fragrance heads and just want to try something, this is something that will definitely set you apart. And when you go tell people what you're wearing, you don't have to worry about your bros going and buying it in droves. This is not something you can just go pick up at Macy's. This is something that's unique and different and really provoking. Easily something that encapsulates its name. The thrill of the chase, Bravido Della Caccia, is something that I think you should get your nose on. I'd like to thank the fine folks at Argos for sending this for me for review. I'd like to answer any questions you may have, so leave those in the comment section below. One question you may ask is, Josh, would you buy this? And to answer that question, yes, emphatically. If I had someone's coupon code, like the one I'll leave on the screen right here, I would definitely purchase this one. This is a leather fragrance that's different, and it's so often that they're just not. If you've made it to this point in the video, that convinces me that you've liked what you've seen. If you did, go ahead and let me and the YouTube algorithm machine that there is out there know that you liked it by clicking that like button. And while you're at it, move your finger over, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, just keep clicking, click the share button, just keep going, man. Just click into your heart's content. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Again, if you want to go check out these fragrances, they'll be available at buyargos.com. Make sure to use my coupon code. That way you get a discount. And as always, and most importantly, I'll smell each and every one of you later. Peace.